What kind of mic do you have, Ben?
I have an Audio Technica. I think it's like an AT5050 or 2050. It's pretty good. It's like a $150 microphone. Yeah. How about yourself?
I've got a $99 Yeti Blue, or is it Blue Yeti?
Those are good. Those are very good.
It's a Nano. It's a Yeti Nano.
Small guy.
Yeah, small, $100, Best Buy, done.
It works well for you too. It's good for your voice.
Yeah, I still think about what Dave said, where he's like, "That's a sexy mic," and I'm like, "Thanks." I gave him like the Keanu Reeves gif, like, "Hey, dude, thanks." You know, that kind of look.
Yeah. Hey everybody, you're listening to Will and Drew's Gaming Retrospective episode 74 for the week of April 26, 2020. Thanks for hitting that download button. Be sure to subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. And don't forget to check us out on the web at www.WDGRPodcast.com. You're listening to part 2 of our interview with Ben Todd. If you haven't already listened to part 1, go back and check out episode 73. We dive into his early gaming career in part 1. In part 2, we pick up things from the PS3 era and go forward. Talk about Demon Souls, Dark Souls, a little bit of Nioh 2, some Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and some conversation about 3D Doritos and dirty controllers. We get into all kinds of crazy stuff, so give it a listen and let us know what you think about the episode. Head on over to our Discord room. There's a link for that in the show notes, or hit us up on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WDGR Podcast. That's at WDGR Podcast. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoy the show. So what was after the PlayStation 2? Where'd you go from there?
Got the PS3, and that was honestly a hard generation, like I was saying, because not only was the PS3 just ridiculously expensive for no reason, and I was in middle school when that came out. Well, that was, I think, so I was actually doing some Googling before coming on here, and I was looking at like Resistance Fallen Man, which was the first game I had on PS3.
Okay.
That came out in 2006. That was a launch title, so I guess the PS3 probably came out in 2006. And yeah, if I graduated high school in 2011, so yeah, that puts me in middle school. I was in middle school, so I didn't have a job, didn't have money, so I had to like beg my mom to shell out not just $600 for the console, but like, oh, I want a second controller. Oh, I want a game or two, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, looking back on that, I would like really regret. I should have just told my mom to not buy that for me. But you know, we had that. Resistance Fallen Man was a cool game. That was like that had a lot of 6-axis controllers. I think you could like reload your gun by shaking the controller. Okay. Like who the heck wants to do that, dude? Like that's not.
I think if it worked well, it might have been cool, but it probably didn't.
You're right. No, exactly. And the thing is, like, I don't know. I got into a lot of competitive shooters, which I'll talk about later because like we're not there yet. But like, you know, reloading is something that needs to be quick, needs to be consistent. They're not. You shouldn't have to like try. You should just do it. You know.
Sure.
Right.
So. You know, playing a shooter, granted it was a very story-driven shooter, it wasn't like a competitive game, but even still, you know, you just like waving your controller around. Even in like the Dark Souls games, or Bloodborne, if you hold down X and like move your controller, you like do emotes.
Oh
right?
yeah, dude, I never used that. I had to like Google that shit to figure it out.
So like, but if I was gonna have a 6-axis controller do something, at least tie it to something that's nonsense. Don't tie it to like, you know, literally putting bullets in my gun. You know, but you know, I understand. Resistance Fallen Man was overshadowed by Gears of War. I mean, the PS3 in general was overshadowed by the Xbox 360. I mean, I'm sure you guys would agree to that, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Xbox 360 was really special.
Yeah, it was special.
You know,
why do you say it's special?
Well, they did a lot of things that I think other consoles had either tried to do and didn't succeed with, or just didn't even attempt. You know, Xbox Live really came into its own with the 360 and established, for the first time, I think, the framework for what online gaming in a console could really be.
You're right.
You know,
you're very right.
Yes, there were consoles that did it before the 360, but nobody executed it the way the 360 did.
No.
And just the overall lineup of games, especially the exclusive games that they had, you know, very early on in the system, you know, carrying out. I would say they really didn't start losing exclusives until towards the very, very tail end.
I'd agree with that.
I don't miss buying the gold cards, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's no different than anything that you could do today, though. Like that hasn't really ended. Like
I was going to say,
I buy them in a different way. I just get a digital code from CD keys when it's on sale. It's no different.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
that used to be like an argument point, like, oh well, you have to pay for your online, and then like Sonya's like, hey guys, by the way,
but I mean,
PlayStation Plus.
I would argue that even to this day, PlayStation Plus is just trash.
You don't like it?
I don't. I don't. Listen. I love the PlayStation 4. Don't get me wrong. I play the shit out of it. I think it's a great system. You wrong. But I think their online infrastructure is trash. I think it's garbage. Everything takes forever to load. It's very.
I agree with that.
Difficult to find what you're looking for. Like I couldn't. The day it came out, I could not find the Final Fantasy VII remake trailer. Couldn't find it.
Yeah, the PlayStation Store is garbage.
It's hot garbage.
I remark consistently about how we are in 2020, and I literally firmly believe, and it's probably reinforced in my experiences, the PlayStation Store has like a 70% failure rate for me. Yeah. I have to like reload it all the time.
I can agree with that to an extent.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm kind of exaggerating, but it's way higher than it should be.
Sure.
Now, I will admit that I have not purchased a subscription to PSN, so I cannot rate the multiplayer. But I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. And the ones that I do play, I play on Xbox.
Yeah, the multiplayer I think is good. My thing about PS Plus is that when PS Plus first came around and it was competing against Xbox Live, I think PS Plus was the first one out of the two to start doing like the free monthly games. I don't know if Xbox Live.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe just through never owning one of them, but still, like maybe they started releasing more pivotal, impactful games. They released some pretty good games. Like I got Shadow of the Colossus for free on there. I got Rocket League for free on there when it first came out. They even did Metal Gear Solid 5.
They did.
And again, obviously now Xbox is mirroring that, but it used to be something that me and my friends remarked that a lot. My Xbox friends about how Sony guys were getting better games out of the monthly deal, but of course now Microsoft is moving more towards game subscriptions as a whole, right? They have the Games Pass.
Yeah, I mean the Games Pass is kind of a different beast altogether. But
it is a different beast, but
like I'm looking at the list of games with gold, and they started in 2013 releasing this, and within the first month, they released Fable 3, Assassin's Creed 2, Crackdown, Dead Rising 2. Okay, now we're getting into August.
Baby.
So, I mean, like, they were tossing out heavy hitters. Halo 3 was in October. I mean, they were not fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're not always on point. Like, there's been, like, right now, like, we're kind of hitting a streak where, like, the games really aren't all that great for the games with gold. But I would argue that Sony's gone through those same, growing pains. They've had their stretches where their free games for PS Plus just haven't been that good.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes I'm disappointed with the two games that come out, and I'm like, this is trash. I don't want it. But like, you know, that's a personal preference. Some people might see that and be like, oh, cool, like Wipeout, whatever. So there's definitely pros and cons. I think the PS3 store was pretty abysmal.
Oh, it
was hot garbage.
Dumpster fire.
Wow.
And that was what the PS3 era in general to me was a dumpster fire, dude. There was a lot of questionable, releases. There wasn't like I'm trying to jog my brain to think of what exclusives PS3 even had besides Metal Gear Solid 4. And Resistance Fallen Man,
stuff like that.
Oh yeah, okay. I never really cared for Uncharted for like no reason. I don't really remember why.
Well, you can grab Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection for free right now if you don't have it.
I did do that actually.
Yeah, they're good games. I would definitely give them a chance. I've really only experienced Uncharted 1 and most of 2, and they are very well done.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Presentation is killer on this.
Yeah. I remember one time, I think I told Will this story too, but like, they had this ad campaign for Uncharted 2 that like, this is the game that your girlfriend is going to think is a movie.
I remember this.
You remember that? And they had these commercials.
That's so messed up.
I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, this is just like really stupid. And like one day I'm sitting on the sofa playing Uncharted 2 and Nikki walks in and she's like, oh, what movie are you watching?
You're like, no.
Dead fucking serious.
Yeah.
She did it.
Who's that cute guy?
That's just, don't worry about it. He's mine.
Yeah, I'm controlling Nathan.
Okay.
I guess I don't even know what made me steer away. I definitely played like a demo of it when that was first around. I was just playing. I was playing a lot of Oblivion. You know,
Okay.
I was playing a lot of like free form games that didn't have like linear progression. So like I think that kind of just didn't make me feel good for whatever reason.
Okay.
Well, Uncharted is like kind of big, bright, and AAA, and it's very just like, it seems like one of those sort of like generic adventure games. Like if you don't know anything about it, and
yeah,
I think
but there's more to it.
Yeah, and I went down the same road as you, man. Like I had no interest in it at first.
They're worth your time, especially now that you get them for free. I would recommend.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go back and do that now that it's free. I mean, I guess technically the Last of Us was a PlayStation 3 exclusive, but it doesn't feel that way because it's like an intergenerational.
Yes,
well, yeah. I mean, it's
game.
been released and remastered, know, for the PS4. Understandably so. I think that's a game that came out so late in the life cycle of the PS3 that a lot of people probably just missed it.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely should have been, and the jump in hardware from that the PS3 gen to PS4 is so substantial. It did deserve a redo for sure.
I'm actually looking forward to trying to find the time to find. I'm looking forward to finding time. I want to play. I want to play that game. Like I really want to
time. Damn it!
Yeah. Well, isn't the new Last of Us is coming? Isn't it literally coming out next month?
No,
it got delayed again.
Oh God. What, was that recent? I'm just not paying attention.
It was recent. It was like a few weeks ago at least.
Okay. I feel good now. When did it get delayed? That actually works for me because I have to beat it too.
Yeah, it's September maybe, I want to say. Or did they? No, they never announced a date.
I don't think they did. Yeah, it was a COVID thing.
That's crazy. I mean, I guess it makes. Wouldn't COVID times be the perfect time to release a video game though?
I know. I think it has something to do with like, I don't know, something else.
Yeah, well, the workers can't work that effectively. They probably can't develop it, right? Like, or they're having issues. They probably can't be in the office working on it. They're not essential employees.
Yeah. No, nobody in the gaming community is really working right now.
But I would play it. All I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
Naughty Dog or whoever's working on it.
Yep.
Naughty Dog just had this. There was this article that came out about how the working conditions there were garbage, and then on top of it all, they had this delay, and it just kind of like blew open the doors on them and their philosophies, and I don't know, it's kind of a crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
Something similar to that happened with Riot in League of Legends. There was like that Gamergate thing.
Yeah,
it was like a really about like sexism and things like that. Like I try not to throw my hat in the ring too much on those because I'm a tolerant dude. I don't think that games should be gendered, and I think people should be taught, or people should be paid and have a good place to work. But it's really crazy when you open the door on these dev teams and these producers. You see some crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. Stuff that we just don't think about really ever. We're so quick to buy a $63 game and play it and bitch about it, and then we have no idea what's going on in the development world. So it's very interesting. These articles are popping up a lot more often.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, man.
It's really crazy. Did you guys have PS3s? Did you guys play on there?
Yeah, I still have mine.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a PS3 that I bought from a coworker. He was just looking for some cash, and he sold it to me for like $100. And it's one of the 40 gig fat models, but it does not have PS2 compatibility. So I got like that one model that was in between that could have been PS2 compatible, but wasn't.
Mm.
You know what PS3 exclusive I forgot about, which is probably the most important one, is Demon's Souls.
Oh yeah, what a fantastic experience.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, it was just different than most things out. I talked about how there was Onimusha 2 on PS2 that kind of started my appreciation for hack and slash. There's also Devil May Cry, but Demon's Souls was just weird, man. Like literally even being in the main player hub, I was just like, I was so confused and intrigued. I couldn't even figure out what level I was supposed to play first.
Oh yeah. It's like Mario.
And it was just like, and the enemies were terrifying. And the playing it on PS3 when it was in its prime and the online interaction with the other players, it was bonkers.
Well, think about the first time you saw a Phantom running around. You're like, what is that? Is that like a CPU? Dude, is that somebody else?
I was scared shitless, dude. I was literally, me and my brother used to play a lot of games side by side. And we would switch off on that game, and we would just be like, what's going on? I used to throw the controller to him because he was better than me at it. Because I refused to fight anything like that, man. That was no way.
Yeah, that game was brutal, man. But it had one of the best atmospheres I think I've experienced in any game. Lighting, it was such a warm, dark, atmospheric game. And I think it really started the whole atmosphere trend that we saw in the later Souls games.
It's very weird to hear you say warm and dark when referring to atmosphere at the same time.
Ben will know, like
it's complicated, man. But I do agree.
The Nexus,
the color palette, the color palette was honestly a lot more dynamic than what I think of like Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls. And it was just like when you compare Demon Souls to the rest of the Dark Souls series, I think the lore holds up very well, and it might be better than certain instances of the actual Dark Souls franchise. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
I would actually. Demon Souls was complex, but it was a little bit more straightforward, and it seemed like some of the character dialogues and everything just seemed to kind of translate a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But,
the weaponry was cool. I could say nothing but good things about that game. And I kind of what I talked about before about how I played it when I was younger. I didn't know how to optimize it. Right when I play RPGs nowadays, I'm constantly like, okay, what stat is going to give me the most?
You're min-maxing it, right?
Exactly. But back then I was like, okay, I guess I want to use a sword. I'm going to put my points in this one, I guess. And, you'd have no idea. You wouldn't know how to do magic. In Dark Souls and Demon Souls, the way you acquire and level up magic is so complicated. It's just like, great times.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest memories in Demon Souls for me was fighting that dragon that keeps swooping by that bridge. And you realize, like, you have these moments where you're like, you know what if I stand on this bridge and I just shoot arrows at this dragon? Like, maybe eventually I'll kill it. And you can, but it takes like an hour to do. And it's really cool because like the game doesn't tell you, like you don't have any like on-screen prompts that says like, oh, do this or here's this marker. Like you just got to figure shit out. And it was one of the first games that really taught players how to just do things without, instructional help all the time.
Yeah, just mess with it. Or how like in Dark Souls, I want to say Dark Souls 1, but I feel like that's like not correct. You know what I mean? You should just say Dark Souls. But like when you fight that one dragon on the bridge, you can shoot its tail off and get that weapon.
Same concept.
And that weapon is super strong. And if you get that early on, it can completely shape how you play the first portion of the game.
100%.
And, nobody would know. I didn't know to do it the first time I played. So yeah, it was Demon Souls had that same thing. It really kind of reshaped my thought process of how I should play a game and, what's the most efficient step to take with a character. Before that, it was just like, oh, I'm playing this game. Like when I played Oblivion, I was like, I'm just doing random stuff. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like now if you pick up a game, like you're taking more of like a min-max approach, or like how do you like approach something like Dark Souls 3 or
yeah, so like with Nioh, for example, and a good example because it's a very similar game and very relevant. I guess with the second one being that it's a sequel, I understand the stats. But like with the first one, when I didn't understand what the stats were, I literally was Googling before I even really got into the game what the best weapons were. Like what's the most efficient way for me to play through the game? And I had that on my mind. I started that game as like a dual sword character. I was playing with two swords. And then about a couple levels in, I realized that regular swords were more powerful. Yeah. And I switched my build completely. As a kid, I probably would have just stuck with those other weapons because I liked using them more.
Yeah.
But I'm making more conscious decisions now about, okay, yeah, I want to do this, but like, is it viable? And that is one of the downsides of the Dark Souls franchises is that, in each game, there's a different subset of the weaponry and the equipment and the abilities that don't get enough love or that don't feel balanced properly. Because it's hard to do. But right. When I was a kid, I wouldn't care. I would do whatever I wanted. If I did like miracles and miracles were weak in that game, I wouldn't know or care or try to work around it. I would just do it. Mm-hmm. And same thing with like pathing in the game, because in the Dark Souls series and in Nioh 2, you can take different routes, in the levels and stuff. You can play them in different ways. You can go right to the objective, or you can go around and do other stuff. As a kid, probably would have just went right for the objective and not really done the side missions and stuff. But now I'm getting all the experience and getting all the weapons and getting all the bullshit, and it's just, I don't know. It's a very different way to play the games.
So it's kind of like more analytical, like you're
exactly. I'm taking more of like a scientific approach.
Yeah, you're trying to get as much as possible, most efficiently way possible.
Yeah.
Ben, do you?
And it's, it's
I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, and it's really because, like, you literally will deal more damage. Like you will hit things harder when you're min-maxing your character, and that's what appeals to me now. Like, how fast can I burst this enemy down? How ferocious can I make my character? Versus before, I just never thought about that.
Fair.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Ben, just kind of circling back super quick to Demon Souls. Do you remember when they announced that they were going to close the servers?
I don't, actually.
So I was lucky enough to be on the very last night that they closed them down. Like, it was like the last night they were going to keep them on, and then they were going to close it at like midnight or something. And I remember getting on like 1 hour before they were going to close. And I think I might have told Drew about this, and I got on, and I didn't really do anything. I just kind of like walked around looking for phantoms, and eventually, like, it hit midnight, and I just saw them fade away, and it was like just saying farewell to like an old friend.
So sad.
It was really sad. Like, I think I actually welled up slightly because, like, I spent hours, dude. I spent hours in that game, like in its prime, with other friends, like co-oping stuff for ever. So, like, to be a part of, like, them closing the servers, I know it sounds super fucking nerdy, but it was fucking sad, dude. It was like waving goodbye to an old friend, like I mentioned.
It's heartbreaking.
It was, dude. I love that game.
I had a similar experience to that with the First Division, because I played the beta for that game, and it was the kind of thing where you're playing the beta, and as it gets close to the end time, you see like a little thing pops up like 2 hours before server shutdown. And that game had that dark zone mechanic. I don't know. Did you guys play that game?
Yeah,
Division?
I'm familiar with that.
Had the dark zone where you can kill your peers and you can go rogue and all this stuff, or you can help them so you can make a decision. And you saw players doing crazy stuff knowing the servers were going to shut down, like being like just wild, just killing everyone for no reason, versus now in the game where it's never going to go away. People are a lot more cautious and they care more about their longevity.
Yeah, it's that was like so cutthroat.
That was rough, dude.
I haven't had any experience with Division 2's Dark Zone, but I just remember.
Do you play it?
I've dabbled with it. I have a copy. It came with my Xbox One X, so I played it because I did play the first one and I enjoyed it, but I just I needed to get away from looter shooters, man.
Yeah, dude, they're toxic. They're very toxic.
Never been
like for me, like I don't have the time or the patience to like play them frequently enough to make it worthwhile anymore.
Yeah. You're always getting exposed to guys that beat the shit out of you, right? Like you guys that are better than you. And it's just like, damn. I mean, or have more time, It's really more about time, because with any looter shooter, it's how many levels do you have over the guy that you're playing against, and how many guns. And most of the time, those guns eventually will drop for everybody. You just need to put in the time. It's not a skill thing. It's none of that. And plus, honestly, I suck at video games. So I get not only am I getting min-maxed out of a match and get my ass whooped, but I'm also not as good as everybody else too. So it's like a double whammy, Yeah. And people are so sweaty when it comes to those games, so it's like it can. I feel that way about Destiny sometimes, because Destiny is a game where they're constantly adding in like new guns and new exotics, and there's always definitive ways to get them, and I never would have time to go and get them. Right. And if it happened to be a game breaking gun and I didn't have it, you go into the Crucible to play against people, and you're just getting outclassed just by virtue of not having time to get that gun.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's not a good feeling. Not a good feeling at all. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, and what I loved about Counter-Strike was that, in every facet, everyone's on the same playing field. Everyone has the same guns, everyone has the same level of access to it. And it's a very consistent experience. It's all about how good you are.
It's amazing to think that game is still going.
Oh, it's still going, bud.
I mean, I was playing that in high school. I mean, that was like 2001, 2002, I think is when I first started.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What was that map? Dude. Dust?
Dust, yeah, Dust and Dust 2, all that shit.
Yeah, dude.
I used to do a lot. They had that surfing game mode. I don't know if you ever did that. It was like they would take map like resources, and they would like shift them around and make them at like extreme angles. And because of the way the motion worked in the Source engine, if you held your key, like if you were going left against a slope that was going down, to the right, you would like coast on it. So they started to make these elaborate maps where people just like messing with the game momentum to like fly around, and it was a whole. It became a whole entire different mode of play called surfing. And I don't think it's that popular anymore, but it's definitely crazy.
Wow, that reminds me of how Modern Warfare 2 got fucked like years ago, and people were doing some pretty crazy shit. Yeah,
those were wild times. Modern Warfare 2 is a very hit and miss title for me. I don't know why I don't have like the level of fond memories that most people have with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys mirror that or if you were really into it.
I wasn't as much as like the first one. I mean, Modern Warfare 2 just reminds me of like camo guns and teenagers yelling at you, you know?
And Mountain Dew.
Yeah. And Mountain Dew.
Oh, yeah, Mountain Dew.
How can you forget the Mountain Dew?
Yeah, didn't they have like a promotion with them or no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for points. Yeah.
And Mountain Dew and Doritos. You buy a bag,
I was going to say Doritos,
double
right?
XP or some shit, you know?
That's absolutely absurd.
Dude,
I honestly completely forgot about that.
I still want 3D Doritos to come back.
No,
dude, I loved. Wait, no, yes. Hold on, I loved those, dude. I used to bite the spikes of them off first, and then eat the rest of it. Like I don't know, I was an idiot, but like, dude, I literally forgot those existed. But now that you mention it, I used to love those.
Dude, let's bring them back. Some Surge.
Wait, when did they go out of existence?
Oh God, Drew, help me.
Oh, we go. Yeah, do it.
I don't know if you hear me typing, but
yeah, I heard. I was like, here we go. Please God,
this is what we do, man.
Google. Well, there is a change.org petition.
Oh wait.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to sign this bad boy.
Hold on. It only has 297.
Me and Ben donate like $20 tonight.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna down like 20 grand.
Oh my God, look at them.
Donate 20 grand. That's so crazy, dude.
Oh, I forgot they came in that can, huh?
They're still sold in Mexico.
Wait.
Avocados from Mexico.
But wait, why does that like what do they do in Mexico that facilitated their existence? Like they had some guy over there, like the president of Mexico or whatever, is like, listen.
Oh God.
The cartels are like, we need these.
Yeah,
and the classic Coke in the bottle.
Oh God, and that's probably why they're doing it, because they need that. Those
gotta wash it down, dude.
Yeah. These are crucial to our drug business.
but I mean, if you can get them in Mexico, that means you could probably get them on Amazon.
This is what they're eating when they're counting money in the fucking den and shit.
Yeah. Why do I have like copious amounts of drugs in my 3D Doritos?
Jesus. Sugar.
Oh, but you got to get in the know.
All right, so let's see here. I'm looking on Amazon. So far, it's not going too well. No.
I forgot about the can, though, dude. You used the top.
Is it legal? I mean, okay, I was going to say, because it's not like they discontinue. They still actively produce them and sell them in Mexico.
According to Wikipedia.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if they're like, they can't sell them if they're expired on Amazon. Maybe you can go on eBay. I don't know, man. Yeah. Would you eat like a 7-year-old bag with 3D Doritos?
If it wasn't opened, like I would try it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh my God.
Jesus. Look how perfect they are, though, for like a gamer.
No, it's exactly
all
what
that's missing is like wet ones, you know? So you don't get Cheeto dust on your dirty sweatpants.
Yeah, you got to fucking hand out a packet of wet ones with your 3D Doritos, so you keep those controllers clean.
I'm actually super anal about that. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had a friend who claimed that he ruined one of his gaming mice with like pizza grease.
Oh God.
Ugh.
Yeah, apparently like pizza grease. I don't know. Like fact check me here. I have no idea if this is correct, but he claims that he used his mouse with greasy hands. Which side note, why would you do that? Like come on, now.
Right?
But he says he says it literally like it like messed up the. I don't even know. Huh. As I'm telling the story, I'm becoming confused because I don't understand how it's
possible, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
That's interesting. That's I don't know. I can't imagine why you would just fucking eat and then wash your hands and then use your controller or your mouse.
Yeah,
it's simple. It's simple.
Yeah, dude.
I remember.
I hear furious typing here.
That was me. I'm sorry.
I think I mentioned this on the show once before, Drew. Back when OneUp was still a thing. Ben, I don't know if you remember OneUp.com.
I don't.
But there was a group that I was in years ago, and it was called the Clean Controllers Club. And I was part of it, dude. It's like one of those online groups where like no one's really active, and occasionally you go in there, you're like, oh, I took apart my controller today, cleaned it with a toothbrush, put it back together, see ya. You know, it was that kind of community, but...
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
And you would clean your controller a lot?
Oh, yeah, dude. I used to use a dry, like, unused toothbrush, and you could get in, like, the crevices and stuff, like, really well.
Oh God, that makes me so. Because I thought I kept my controllers pretty clean, but it seems like you kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that in years, but I used to.
With older controllers, I'll actually dismantle them and clean them. You know, and a toothbrush is a great way to clean any part of your console. Although I'll use alcohol, rubbing alcohol on the toothbrush to kind of get in those crevices. Yeah.
Because nowadays you borderline can't open up your controllers, right?
Well,
like maybe
they're easy to open, but they're a little bit complicated to put back together with the analog sticks and, you know, the bumpers. I find they're really tough to kind of position just right in the controllers a lot of times. I took apart a PS2 controller a couple months back, and when I put it back together again, half the buttons didn't work. And it's not a matter of damaging it. It's just like the positioning of everything. It's like a very carefully crafted sandwich that you have to kind of ease back together just right, you know?
A sandwich, you say?
Kind of, yeah.
I have one of those, like one of those SCUF controllers.
Sure.
You know what those are?
SCUF gaming.
It's like it's like those ones that have they have the paddle on the bottom. It's like, remember the Xbox Elite controller?
Yeah.
It's like that, except it's a third party company that makes them for both PS4 and Xbox.
Okay.
I didn't buy it for myself. It was actually a gift, a birthday gift for someone, because they're like $200. It's absurd. But the thing is, one of the components did eventually break on it, and you know, in order to set the warranty expired on it, I would have to send it to the company for repairs, and then pay like probably more money than a brand new stock PS4 controller costs just to get this expensive controller fixed. And the pedals on the bottom are nice, but they don't really do much for me, because if I want to get that sweaty and competitive on a shooter, because that's mostly what they're for. It's for shooters, so you can jump and duck without taking your fingers off the aiming sticks. Mm-hmm. If I'm gonna get that sweaty, I'm gonna play on PC. You know,
we have a mutual friend who has the Xbox One Elite controller.
Does
Vic.
he love it?
He swears by it.
Damien?
And Damien does too, but Vic has been way more vocal about it, I think, than Damien has.
Okay. I'm sure.
And he is all about using the paddles. When he's playing like PUBG, he's almost exclusively playing on paddles. I bought an Elite controller, and I had to take the fucking paddles off the damn thing, because I would set it on the sofa, and I was playing Destiny one day. It almost deleted an exotic weapon on me.
Ooh.
Oh God, that would be trash.
Dangerous.
Yeah. That'd
be so trash. Yeah, luckily my paddles aren't that sensitive, which is nice. But what I was getting at before is that they put in these security screws on the SCUF controllers. So, and they're not conventional security screws. I actually did a substantial amount of research to try to figure out how to take this apart. It's completely atypical. You have to buy a custom set of bits for it, and it's pretty expensive. And I also tried jimmying it with my own ingenuity, like using a flathead screwdriver and putting pressure and all that. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. And what the heck is the point of paying $200 for a custom controller if literally the manufacturer is going to prevent you from actually working on it? It's a little messed up.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's like that. I don't know if you guys ever heard, like there are these like right to repair legislation.
Yeah.
No.
It's So there's this. A lot of manufacturers make cars is the obvious example. They intentionally prohibit people from performing their own repairs via like computer diagnostics or like things that you literally can't bypass. John Deere tractors, for fun fact, a lot of farmers actually hack their John Deere tractors and install like Ukrainian firmware.
No shit.
Whoa.
So that because on the regular versions you can't perform certain repairs. It's the kind of thing where even if you repair it yourself, it's still going to give you an error code and it won't run. And then you got to take it into the manufacturer and like have them work on it, and they're going to charge you a bunch of money.
I knew that there was like this kind of legislature was trying to push back against electronics like iPhones, iPads. And,
it's with a lot of stuff, dude.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they tried passing right to repair legislation all the time. And not to get too much in the weeds of politics, because that's not what we're here for. But it's kind of interesting that it actually is impacting my freaking SCUF gaming controller. Because I literally can't repair it. Because I could buy the tools, right? But the tools to repair it cost like $100.
What kind of screwdriver does it use? Is it like a Torx or something? Or?
Yeah, no, it's not a Torx. What it is, it's like it's like a reverse Allen wrench. So it's almost like a socket, but the thing is like here, let me.
I've seen those.
Yeah, it's like here. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it real quick.
Sure.
It's rounded on the edges, and like there are like nubs on it where you can get something in, but they're very, very shallow. So you can't really get like an actual screwdriver in there or a flathead in there.
That's fascinating.
I have seen that before on like a tailoring iron when I was still at Men's Warehouse. I was like, what the fuck, man? I can't fix this.
Huh. Who the fuck makes a proprietary iron? You know?
Dude, I don't know, man. It's like that industrial tailoring gear, you know, that you can't buy in stores.
Yeah. So it's like a 5-pointed star, almost like a nut, like I said, like a reverse Allen wrench, or like you need a socket to go over it, you know, not inside of the hole. But like I said, the nubs for it are super shallow. So, you know, I'm gonna go back to it at some point. It's honestly not that
somebody has got to have like reverse engineered that for an affordable price.
Yeah, probably. But when I was Googling it, I couldn't find a single thing. To be honest with you, like I'm doing some rough Googling right now, and like, I don't know, man, because I have the security screwdriver set for like the PS3 and PS4. You know, I bought those. Yeah. Those weren't expensive. I actually tried to repair a PS3 once because it had this problem. The PS3 had like the orange light of death.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that.
I do.
And one of the potential reasons why that happened was because the flux on the GPU, like the thermal paste and all this stuff, like eroded and deteriorated. So it was like throwing like temperature codes.
Huh.
So I opened a supposed fix for it was open your PS3. Reveal the GPU and take a heat gun and blast the GPU with the heat gun. So because like, I guess there's this thing called flux inside it. I don't know a lot about the science of it, but you know, it's supposed to loosen up some of the materials inside of it to the point of not breaking it, but fixing it. And then you put new thermal paste on it and good to go. And it didn't work at all. So I just bought a new PS3, but yeah, I've tried a lot of DIY game stuff, and it only works sometimes.
That reminds me of what I did with the emulation storage, where I'm like, "Fuck this! I'm just buying everything."
Oh God,
that's a story for Ben.
Even tried, yeah.
I'll have to tell him at the office. But Ben, we have an important question for you, man.
Lay it on me.
FF7 remake.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
Point.
That's not a question.
It's not a question.
Well, like,
it's a topic. But we want to know your thoughts about maybe perhaps the first game, your experience with it, if anything at all, and then how you feel about the remake and, you know, whether or not you've played it.
So my experience with Final Fantasy VII when I was a kid was mostly like looking at the case and being like, why is it so big? You know, and like, who's this guy with the sword? Because I didn't ever play it. I actually had a copy of it that I got. One of my friends moved away when I was a kid, and he like gave me a box of like random miscellaneous games. And he gave me Final Fantasy VII, but the problem was the first disc was completely scratched and messed up. So it would like give me errors when I tried to play it, and I don't know what the heck the kid did to it. So I never actually played it, but a lot of my friends did, and they would always talk about it. And I didn't like turn-based games when I was a kid. They kind of bored me. And then moving into, you know, getting older, I started to play Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced on the handheld, you know, Game Boy. I mean, I know obviously with Final Fantasy, every universe is separate, right? But I started to kind of like the whole Final Fantasy motif more.
Yeah.
I played Kingdom Hearts. I'm not like a diehard for that game. It handles mechanically a little similar, I think, to the modern Final Fantasy series. I played Final Fantasy 15. I didn't like that at all. So going into Final Fantasy 7, all the hype surrounding it, I was skeptical because, I mean, you know, people forget that this was supposed to come out on PS3, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, we've been... It's not out of the question to expect it to fail, right? Just because based on we've seen other big developers make these big promises and it doesn't really pan out. And Final Fantasy 15 in particular was a game that had a lot of big promises and ambition behind it.
Yes.
But it was just destroyed in the development cycle. Didn't they at one point pretty much completely remake the game?
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about that a couple weeks back actually, and I didn't realize it, but like the battle system was almost completely different from the beginning.
Exactly. So I was worried coming into Final Fantasy VII. And in full disclosure, I don't own the game right this second, but I've watched a lot of content and my friends have it and I've seen it and I've held it in my hands. And I really think that they did a great job in most regards. I don't know a lot about the fan service elements because I never played the original, like I said, but my friends that are very diehardy have nothing but good reviews to say regarding those components. And I guess the pacing is fixed. I was like Final Fantasy 7, you had to travel. I mean Final Fantasy 15, you had to travel a lot from place to place, and you had to do all this hog-posh stuff that just didn't appeal to me. And I'm glad that they didn't take a similar approach to 7. You know, I think that the story flows more. I mean, you tell me, Will. Do you think the pacing is good?
Yes, I would agree with that. It's very good. Drew and I have been discussing this for a while now. We had some experience with the demo, and now that I have the complete game, I'm saving most of my thoughts for the next episode. However, I will say that yes, the pacing seems quite good. There's some transitioning from cutscenes to gameplay that's very, very seamless. And there doesn't seem to be any kind of, drab of traveling anywhere so far. So that's good.
Well, you also have to consider, too, that the game is fundamentally different. I feel like a lot of Final Fantasy 15 was built around the concept of the travel, the idea that you're on a road trip with 3 of your friends.
Yeah.
And I think they pulled that off very effectively. But
I agree with that.
The rest of the game, I think, just didn't really live up to the expectation. Final Fantasy VII, early on is quite linear. You have to go from point A to point B to point C. It doesn't open up until, I think, disc 2 or disc 3.
Yeah.
When you're finally, on the world map, and then you have some freedom to kind of go where you want.
Get that little buggy.
And you're not even going to get any of that stuff in this game, because the remake only goes up to Midgar, which is in reality a 6-hour piece of Final Fantasy VII originally.
Yeah, they've stretched it out to 40 hours apparently. So
yeah, which is fine if you have the story and the content to back it up, and it sounds like they do.
Yeah,
but it's fundamentally just a different approach to the game.
Very much so.
Yeah, I agree with that. With the spacing it out between I guess it's supposed to be a trilogy. Is that what they're saying, or is it going to be just 2?
They haven't said.
They haven't said much.
I understand in like the modern setting, it makes sense. I'm honestly not even mad at that component. I will say I don't love the idea. Like, let's say it is a trilogy. I don't love the idea of paying a total of $180, to get the full story. That kind of sucks. But at the same time, for someone like me who's like a soft fan of the series, I could just hold out. But I will say the combat looks really flashy, and it's kind of like I might cave, and get it.
Play the demo.
Yeah, I probably should do that.
I mean, honestly, it's not going to give you a complete picture of the game, but I think it'll give you enough of a picture that you'll know if this is something that you need to buy or not.
Yeah.
Well, another thing is I sometimes call myself the anti-fanboy because I very frequently get frustrated by people that have these blind devotions to certain franchises. And Final Fantasy 100% comes to mind. And same thing as, a lot of Square games, like Kingdom Hearts, same thing. It's like, is this story really good, or is it just so hard to understand that we can't tell if it's good? I'm always very skeptical with these fan bases that think these games are the God's gift to the gaming community.
I mean, you're kind of describing the Metal Gear fan base right now too.
I was gonna say,
how dare you? Old man yells at cloud.
Like I was getting at before, my thing about Metal Gear is that I'll never lie to you and say I understand the complicated parts, because it's freaking complicated. Metal Gear has some story issues. It does have some continuity issues that they quote unquote tie up. Right. But is it satisfying? Does it make sense? I don't know. Do you think every point makes sense in Metal Gear, Will?
Absolutely not. I think a lot of it is largely supposed to be almost intentionally convoluted in some ways.
Yeah.
Because Kojima is he's kind of a troll in some ways.
Yeah. I just think that when you become that level of a fan of a franchise, you start to ignore things that aren't great about it, things that are wrong, and I think you have to have those pieces. There's no infallible game studio. When you start to think studios are infallible, you get something like what happened with Destiny 2, where like Bungie was literally making bad decisions about the game. But you go on Reddit and all these community, people are like defending the devs to the death. And then there's this toxic cycle between the devs and the player base where it's like, their player base isn't getting what they want, but the devs are only hearing from the outspoken people of the community, and the outspoken people are completely blind to the problems, and it halts the game's progress. At least that's how I felt about Destiny 2. I thought that the larger player base wasn't listened to because not everyone was voicing their opinions.
Right.
I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah, I got to say, I do agree with you, Ben, in terms of like the sort of false fandom, just because everybody else likes it. We've spoken about bandwagon trends and things like that before, and I think with FF7, I do question some people when they're like, "Oh, dude, it's the best game ever." It's like, well, first of all, did you even play the original, and were you there when everybody was playing it in '97, or are you just kind of jumping on that wagon? You're just assuming that it's the best, and you don't really know why. So I do question that sometimes, because I can humbly say that I like the game for very specific reasons, and it's not because of the story so much. I just like it because it's a memorable game in my gaming career, and I like a lot of the elements of the game itself that I won't go into now. But I'm not going to just randomly say, "Oh, I think it's the best game ever," because I don't think it is.
Definitely. Another thing about games like Final Fantasy and games like that, they're interesting to me because they almost kind of they breach barriers of other games. Like Kingdom Hearts and other Square games, those games are played by people that I don't consider conventional gamers. It has like a very wide audience, people that have these emotional connections to the games. Like I'm very big into hip hop music and rap music. It's funny how frequently you see hip hop artists or like people that you wouldn't think would touch a video game bring up like Kingdom Hearts or a Final Fantasy game as something that's inspired them, or like French Montana has a literal like full rap song over like one of the main Kingdom Hearts theme songs, and he's like a very big hip hop artist. So it's very interesting how it's a monolithic title, monolithic franchise, and I'm glad because the core fan base does seem satisfied with the game.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. It does seem to be reviewing well, and that's exactly why I got it. So I'm excited to spend more time with it.
Yeah. Well, let's, one thing that we like to do with all of our guests is a lightning round. And I think this is a good opportunity to sneak that in with you right now.
I'm excited.
This is going to be fun, man. Basically what we're going to do is Will and I are going to go back and forth asking you mostly either or questions, but some of them are a little open-ended, right?
Okay.
And you just have to answer. Gun to head, give us an answer, right? Mm-hmm. You want to try to do it as quickly as possible.
Got it.
We discourage changing your mind. We discourage explaining your choice. You have to stick with what you choose, okay?
Okay. I'll stick it.
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be fun. We threw a couple... We threw a couple weird questions in on this one too. You're gonna be our beta test for a few of these.
I'm honored, dude.
That's perfect.
Pick me up.
So, Will, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Okay, here we go.
Are you ready, Ben?
I'm honestly like you guys made me nervous, but I'm also excited. I'm just like I have no idea what you're gonna ask me.
So I mean, like realistically, man, there's no pressure whatsoever.
Okay.
But you better fucking get it right.
All right. There's a right answer. Yeah. I thought the whole
one-time shot at this.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. We're gonna do a lightning round with Mr. Ben. All right, Nioh or Dark Souls?
Dark Souls.
Sekiro or Nioh?
Nioh.
Destiny 1 or 2?
2.
Best Metal Gear?
3. Metal Gear Solid 3.
Worst Metal Gear?
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Favorite Metal Gear character?
Solid Snake.
Hardest Dark Souls?
Dark Souls 2.
Hardest Dark Souls boss?
It's got to be Ornstein and Smog. I don't know if you pronounce it that way, but
that's fine.
You know what I'm saying, right? Those two guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
This is me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shit. Sea of Thieves or Assassin's Creed 4?
Sea of Thieves.
Those are two games we didn't get to talk about tonight.
Damn.
Best roguelike?
Best roguelike? Enter the Gungeon.
Okay.
Worst roguelike?
Worst roguelike? Oh, that's so difficult, man. Dude, oh God. I honestly can't think of a worse one. I mean, I'm going to say Binding of Isaac. I won't explain it. I'll just say Binding of Isaac.
Meats or vegetables?
Meats. Sadly, sorry.
Yeah. I'm just wiping the tears with fucking
I'm not going to lie
to you. Bagel or English muffin?
Bagel. That's come on.
Nintendo or Sega?
Nintendo.
Sony or Microsoft?
Sony.
I figured that was an easy one.
Yeah, right.
Conversation. PC or console?
Oh, PC.
Console or handheld?
Console.
Mario or Sonic?
Mario.
Best controller?
I gotta give it up to the Xbox One.
Worst controller?
Fuck. The Wiimote.
All right. That's a unique answer.
I hate that thing, dude.
Hardest game?
Hardest game. Oh, God damn it. I'm drawing a blank here, man. I'm gonna say vanilla World of Warcraft.
All right. Easiest game?
Easiest game? Binding of Isaac.
First console?
First console, PS1.
Best console?
PS4.
And lastly, worst console?
Worst console. Oh, God. The Wii U.
All right. I think those are all fairly strong answers. How do you feel? You made it through the lightning round.
Oh, God. Yeah. Some of those were hard. The hardest roguelike, I was like, or the worst roguelike. Because I like Binding of Isaac, right? It's just that I really, and this is a personal thing, I'm not really big on like toilet humor and like gross stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool with blood and things like that. I just like, I don't know if you guys, you said you had played Binding of Isaac?
Not I.
Dude, no, it's like,
I'm familiar with it though.
It's literally like a gross game. Like it's there's like points in the game where you're fighting against like literal like fecal monsters and things like that. So like while I think the game is cool, another thing is why I said it was the easiest is because I beat the game every time I try it. I've never not beaten the game, and it's like I've made friends super pissed. Like my friend bought it on the Switch when he first got a Switch, and he was like really mad because he couldn't beat it. And I was like, "Oh, let me give it a shot," and I just wrecked it. He was pissed, and I was like,
I feel like a lot of people that play that game, talk about how difficult it is.
Well, the thing about, I mean, I play a lot of roguelikes, and I'm exaggerating. I don't beat it every time I play it. What am I saying? But like I beat it pretty frequently, and it's like roguelikes are a very figured out genre. You know, if you understand the inventory management and how to like use the bare minimum items, you'll win a lot of the time.
Sure.
It's the people that are very reliant on the items. The items that you get are supposed to flavor your playthrough and supposed to make it more enjoyable and make you stronger. But you know, you're supposed to be able to play well with bare bones materials. Mm-hmm. And you know, that's my philosophy in terms of roguelikes. It kind of sounds like a super arrogant thing. Roguelikes are the one genre of game where like I will kind of throw myself around a bit because like I do feel really good at them. Like I don't know. I like them a lot. They're fun. I love the randomness. Like Dead Cells. You played a lot of Dead Cells, right?
Yeah, that's a game that I was really into for a while.
Love that game.
I never beat it. I didn't put enough time in it to get to that point. But like the gameplay loop on that is a lot of fun.
Oh, so fun, dude.
And like you just start to feel like this just complete badass after a while.
Yeah, oh my God. And it's also, you know, Dead Cells is crazy because it has those builds where you feel like you're amazing and invincible, and then you enter like one room and you get like immediately killed and you can't figure out why.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool feeling that you don't get in a lot of games.
Yeah, I agree. That's a game that I want to kind of circle back to and try to, really spend some time reading on like strategies and, builds to kind of gear towards. Because like I was just winging it.
Oh, dude, that's what you got to do. Winging it's fun, dude.
Yeah,
but
I agree. But it also keeps me from beating games sometimes.
Yeah, I'd agree. So. Yeah, that's why I was saying before why I'm in this stance of actually looking things up, like looking up what to do in games, because I don't want to take the time to fail over and over to figure it out.
Right. We're lazy.
It's time. It's time. Yeah, but like, are we? I don't know. It's. I would say yes and no. Yeah. Because some of these games with the difficulty they have them at base level, it's almost impossible to not. Like I have that feeling with Nioh too. If I'm not spending my points correctly, I'm gonna have a much harder time.
Yeah. Because once you spend those, you can't get them back, right?
It does have a pretty generous respec system.
Okay.
That was something that was interesting about. Like I don't think Demon's Souls had one of those.
I don't think so. Actually,
I don't remember, but I think a lot of games have some form of a respec system, and it's very crazy because back in the day those didn't exist in most games that you had to put points into.
Well, if you're expecting people to make permanent choices in a game that's 60 hours long with a risk of failure, you need to give them the option, even if it's going to cost an arm and a leg. You need to give them the option.
I think Dark Souls 2 had it.
I think you're right. I can't remember, dude. I'm like, in talking with you guys, I'm remembering how spotty, like my past recollection of certain games are. But I guess it's, it's for a good reason, because there are those games where I can remember every little bit and piece of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
But definitely difficult.
Cool, man. Well, Ben, like, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, man.
Yeah, it's been fun, right?
I feel like we could go another couple hours.
Oh, easy.
But we're just we're running out of time. So one more time, man, plug your music, where people can find you on your social media, everything.
Great. So my name is Benny Odd on all my platforms. It's Benny_Odd on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Benny Odd with 3 Ds, sadly, because everyone else took the other names before I had a chance to get them. But my SoundCloud has links to all 3, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. I'm Benny Odd on there. You just search it up on there. You should pop right up. I checked. And yeah, it's like a mix of a lot of different genres. Not all of it's like super high quality, right? I just put out what makes me happy. I'm not pursuing like financing for this stuff. I'm just kind of messing around, So cool. If you check it out, like it, I'd appreciate it.
Totally cool, man.
If you send me the links to everything on Discord, I'll include them in the show notes so people can find you pretty easily too.
Oh, great. Yeah, definitely will do that.
So, man, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, had a lot of fun, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. This was a blast, just kind of walking down memory lane with you and just really diving into some deep dives in some of these topics too.
Dude, it was really fun. It was this was exactly what I was hoping for. So thank you guys for facilitating the conversation.
Yeah, just to echo everything Drew said. Again, thanks for coming on. We've been wanting you on for a long time. We've had you on the guest list, and we're glad it happened. We were due for a guest.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
No problem, man. So we'll just wrap it up here real quick. Will, how can they find you?
Sure. On Twitter, Will_Gear.
You can find me on social media at ScienceStorm. And of course, check out the site, www.wdgrpodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WDGR Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Say goodbye, Ben.
Bye-bye. That was like a little too forceful. Goodbye.